Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey everyone, and welcome. So, here's a question for you. How can a country with $1 trillion in the bank struggle to build houses for its own people? It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into the incredible story of Kuwait. It's a story about massive wealth, some seriously smart planning, but also a paradox that's left the country feeling, well, stuck.
All right, let's just start with a number that's, honestly, it's hard to even wrap your head around. $1.03 trillion. Yeah, trillion with a T. That's the estimated value of Kuwait's national savings account. Think of it like the country's piggy bank, which is officially called the Kuwait Investment Authority, or KIA for short.
But here's what's truly unbelievable. This fund, it was set up way back in 1953. Now get this, that was a full 8 years before Kuwait was even an independent country. So this wasn't some reaction to suddenly getting rich. No, this was a plan, a blueprint for managing the massive wealth they knew was just on the horizon.
So, the big questions are, how on earth did they pull this off? How did this tiny desert nation build the world's 5th largest fortune? And, maybe more importantly, is there a hidden cost to all that money? Let's dig in and find out.
Okay, so to really get Kuwait's master plan, we have to go back to where all this money came from in the first place. And it all started with one thing, the discovery of black gold, oil. And once they found it, things moved fast. I mean, really fast. The first oil deal was signed in 1934. Just 4 years later, in 1938, they discovered a massive oil field. By 1946, the first tanker was shipping it out. And then, the huge move. In 1975, Kuwait nationalized the whole industry. That basically means they took full control, putting their financial destiny right in their own hands.
But this is where Kuwait's story takes a really different path from a lot of other oil-rich countries. See, instead of just, spending that flood of cash, they did something that was truly visionary.
They took that early investment idea and made it official, creating the Kuwait Investment Authority we talked about. And its mission, it was simple, but so powerful. Take the extra money from oil, invest it all over the world, and create a whole new source of wealth, one that would still be there long after the oil runs out. And the way they structured it is honestly kind of genius in how simple it is. They split it into 2 main funds. First, you have the General Reserve Fund. Think of that like the state's checking account. It's what they use to pay for the budget, day-to-day stuff. But then there's the Future Generations Fund. This one is totally different. It's like a protected national trust fund, a nest egg for the future that is completely untouchable. And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. This isn't just a good idea or a suggestion. It is the law. Every single year, 10% of all state revenue is automatically, by law, transferred into that Future Generations Fund. No political debates, no exceptions. That incredible discipline, that's the secret sauce. That's how you build $1 trillion fortune.
So, it sounds like an incredible success story, right? A perfect plan. But all this success has created a really strange paradox. It's a set of really complex problems that have kind of trapped Kuwait in what some people call a golden cage.
Okay, here's the problem at its core. A staggering 90% of the government's entire income comes from one thing: oil. This creates what economists call a rentier state. Basically, it's a country that lives off the rent from its natural resources, instead of, building a diverse economy with lots of different industries.
And what's the result of that? Well, get this. A mind-boggling 80% of all working Kuwaiti citizens work for the government. The public sector offers these great, secure, high-paying jobs, and it's all paid for by that one single stream of oil money. It's created this massive dependency on the state for, pretty much everything.
Now, don't get me wrong, this system has paid for one of the most generous welfare states on the planet. But there's this growing fear that it's just not sustainable. I mean, even a former prime minister came out and gave a really stark warning, saying that the way things are going now just isn't viable in the long run without some major changes. And look, This economic model isn't just some abstract idea you read about in a textbook. It has very real, everyday consequences for the people of Kuwait, and it's led to a ton of political frustration and social gridlock.
Let's just take the housing crisis. It's a perfect example. You have over 100,000 families on waiting lists for government homes, and they wait for years. I mean, the irony here is just staggering, right? You have a country sitting on $1 trillion savings account that can't build houses for its own citizens. And it's not because they don't have the money of the land. It's because political infighting stalls pretty much every single project. And really, that housing issue is just a symptom of a much bigger problem. There's this constant political tug-of-war between the government and the parliament, and it's caused years of paralysis. Nothing gets done. And this gridlock makes it almost impossible to pass the exact kind of economic reforms the country needs to finally move away from oil and break this cycle.
So that brings us to today. On one hand, Kuwait has an almost unimaginably secure financial future, all thanks to that amazing foresight decades ago. But on the other hand, its present, well, it's all tangled up in uncertainty.
Right now, Kuwait's oil is a huge deal, especially for the booming economies in Asia. But we all know the world is slowly but surely shifting away from fossil fuels. And that means the pressure on Kuwait to solve these internal problems and finally diversify its economy, well, that pressure is getting more urgent every single day.
And so that leaves us with this one really powerful question. The people who founded Kuwait had the incredible wisdom to save for tomorrow. The big question now is, can its leaders today find the political will to solve the problems of today? It really is the ultimate paradox, a nation that is fantastically rich and at the same time profoundly stuck. So what do you think? What's the path forward for Kuwait? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below. And hey, if you found this deep dive interesting, do us a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more explainers like this one. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.